get that House, and we've got to build on that majority. We've also, obviously, with Obama and his Democrat gang trying to nationalize everything, we need a strong conservative governor in this state. And I believe that man is Governor Rick Perry, who will stand fearless in the face of oncoming socialism and protect our freedoms from the tyrants, traitors, and free public promise. I totally have an opinion. In 2010, I have to tell you, I really believe that we are fighting for the heart and soul of America. But I also think that we're fighting for the heart and soul of the Republican Party in Texas. Running from our principles is what gave us Barack Obama and a left-wing Democrat-controlled Democrat out of control, unparalleled spending government, putting us into further debt to places like China and the Middle East. But embracing those principles in Austin, quite frankly, under conservative leadership, have given us this conservative model for the nation that we call the Lone Star State. You know, I thought it was sad, I guess, but amusing that Barack Obama, in talking about health care, tort reform was brought up. And he made a comment, well, perhaps we should try it somewhere to see if it really works first. Hello? The Texas legislature under Republican leadership did that in 2003, and the results have been amazing. It was literally at that point that these companies started leaving California and Michigan and places by the droves and coming down. You know, they're closing plants in Michigan, they're opening plants in Texas. They know what to expect from our economy and our regulatory environment. Doctors are flooding back into the states in places where they can fled because of out-of-control lawsuits. It works, Barack Obama. Take a look. Why not try to be a little more like us, as opposed to like California, which I don't understand at all. So I will tell you, I think obviously there are always things that we can improve on. We can always be more successful. But at the end of the day, I think we have seen real leadership in this state, and that's why you see a Washington falling apart, and by and large you see a Texas that is so much stronger than all the other states around it. And I'm just going to ask you right now, I hope you will consider joining me in supporting Governor Rick Perry in this race. He loves Texas, he cares about Texans. He has shown leadership when Washington has not. And he has stood strong and shown courage when other people have failed. And so I think it is important as what we've got here, that we continue to build on that and not try to take this party and the state to the middle of the road with everybody else. Now, everybody in this room has a part to play, and I know many of you have played that over the years, and I know you get tired, and I know you get discouraged, but you can't, because this is a marathon, it is not a sprint. And working in the Republican Party, sharing the good news with your family and your friends and your neighbors makes a huge difference in standing for what's right and what's good about our state and our nation. And I just want to conclude this portion of what I want to talk with you tonight, just to remind you of those Eastern Europeans that I talked about in the very beginning. You know, they were tasting freedom for the first time. They were not looking to socialism, they were not looking to government, they were thirsty for principles and practices that would maximize freedom. And I think today, America is looking for the same thing. I think they're looking for leaders who are committed to the principles that made this nation the best on the entire earth. I think we need leaders who understand that people make better decisions with their money than the government does and ever has. I think we need leaders who have substance and who will maximize freedom, but based on core conservative principles. Now more than ever, we need leaders who are not afraid to stand against the abomination that is going on in Washington, D.C. as they run roughshod over the U.S. Constitution and our Bill of Rights every single day that the Democrats are in power in Washington, D.C. If people like us don't stay involved, people who are left-wing do and will. And it's that kind of ideology that will absolutely destroy this country. And I just can't stand by and watch that happen. And I hope you can't either. So I'm just asking you tonight, I want to encourage you. I want to say thank you for all the work that you've done over all of these years. But please know the fight is not over, and we have got to stay in this to the very end. I've told this story a few times because I know John has heard it a couple of times, and Lori, but I don't go to Washington, D.C. D.C. very much, but when I do, I always try to go by the National Archives, which is where our Constitution, our Bill of Rights are housed. And everybody knows I am a Southern girl, and if it's below 80 degrees, I'm cold. Well, I was in D.C. in January of last year, well, actually 2 years ago now, and it was snowing. I was cold and I was staying a mile from the National Archives. But I trucked down there in the snow, and I noticed something that I had never noticed before. If you go to the National Archives, you know, the building is here, you walk up these beautiful white marble steps. But on each side of the steps, there are these marble walls that stand up. And on one was engraved something that said, "The price of liberty is eternal vigilance." I never got in the building that day because it hit me like it had never hit before. There is no end to this. We can never rest. We've got to continue. I know America is good. I know its foundation is rock solid because it was built on Judeo-Christian principles. I know we will continue to prosper, and we only prosper when we recognize that and we actually follow the principles on which we were founded. And in our nation's capital, we've gotten a long way from that. So people like us have got to stay involved. So with that, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, when Irvin and I talked, tell me, Irvin, where are you? Oh, you're sitting back in your seat. Okay. I just wanted to, Irvin and I talked about this. You tell me if you want me to do something differently. That sort of gives you an idea, I think, of where we are as a nation, where we are as a state, and where we need to go. We talked about doing some questions and answering and talking about things on a more sort of grassroots level, how to actually get involved and be effective. Now, I've got some things that I can talk about, but if you have questions now, I'll be happy to take them, or if you want to think about them, I'll share a few of my thoughts after my conversation that Irvin and I had yesterday. Does anybody have any questions right now? Yes, sir.
I'm a member of the Texas Lawsuit Reform.
Yes, sir.
Last session, like you said, there were 7 Republicans decided with the Democrats, and almost changed a lot of our court reform that we fought for and then
Absolutely.
93. My question is the state going after those Republicans who run somebody in the primary, so we don't fight that? Because I know a trial lawyer spent $9 million.
But he's asking the question about whether or not the state party will go after and recruit people against Republicans in primaries, in Republican primaries that were not following the platform. I will tell you that as a party, it is against the rules to do that. The party cannot use resources in any kind of intra-party fight. As far as that goes, however, individuals can work through other groups to recruit, and I know that is going on, recruiting to make sure that we have conservative candidates. That's the problem that we have in our party at the national level, and to some extent you have that, in pockets here. Whereas we have the right principles, but we don't find candidates who share those principles, who will actually stand for those principles when they get in office. All that work, it creates a problem. And so, like I said, I do know that is going on. It is, each of these areas is different. I think if we can pick up, I actually think we can pick up, I'm going to say, you never know what's going to happen a year from now. But we could pick up 5 or 6 seats, and I'm hoping Mark Homer's is one of it. And Chuck Hobson's is one of it, and some of these other Democrats over here. And I started to say, I had a few interesting conversations with the chairman of the Elections Committee this last time, and it is frustrating. And I think that's where people need to step up in those areas and recruit good folks who have that.